We are often told about studies and polling that come out of Muslim countries and also non-Muslim countries in regard to how they view different subjects. Now, one of them is terrorism. One of them is Sharia law. So I want to quote a Pew Research poll here. Do you support the establishment of Sharia as official law? They asked in majority Muslim countries in North Africa and the Middle East. And that is a stunningly high number. 74% of the people in those countries said yes, they support Sharia law. Now, this is where a lot of people stop and go, oh my God, that's it. They all believe in chopping hands, heads, etc. But of course, the interpretation of Sharia law is enormously diverse. I'm not Muslim, so I'm not going to bother trying to figure out who's right and who's wrong about how to interpret Sharia law. But what Gallup did in their survey was, they said, okay, look, we're going to specifically talk about killing civilians. So if it turns out, for example, the Sharia law does in fact want you to kill more civilians, well, that's obviously going to be problematic. But let's find out if that is what they say, right? If that is the interpretation of the people in those countries. So they asked, do you believe in the deliberate targeting and killing of civilians is sometimes justified? Now, the other option was never justified. So 14% of the people in those majority Muslim countries in North Africa and the Middle East said that yes, it is sometimes justified. So that's a little damning. It's nowhere near the 74%. Obviously, most people do not interpret Sharia law to mean that at all. But 14% is an unfortunately high number. Now, before you judge, let's find out what other countries answered to that same exact question. In the UK, 33% believe that the deliberate targeting and killing of civilians is sometimes justified. Not collateral damage, not accidental, deliberate targeting of civilians. They were very clear about the question. How about the United States of America? 50% thought that deliberate targeting and killing of civilians is sometimes justified. So, if we're looking at polling to determine who is more violent and more prone to what we normally, colloquially call terrorism, the deliberate killing of civilians, it turns out the population of the United States is about 4 times as likely to support the deliberate killings of civilians. Now, I know people here will say, no, but that's unjustified. We had to do it. We had to do it. But they ask the same question. Do you think the other side doesn't think that they had to do it? Well, apparently they don't. They're under similar circumstances, if not worse circumstances oftentimes. You think the people in the Middle East don't know the consequences of terrorism and killing civilians? They live it. They see it every day. Maybe that's part of the reason why they're like, no, we don't want that. Only 14%. Here in America, 50%. Now, if you don't like those polls, well, you got to look in the mirror and figure out what's going on with you. All right, so if you think, wow, that's something we should work on together here in America to make it better, great, then I agree with you. If you want to ignore it and say, no, I just want to keep blaming the other side, okay, then perhaps you don't like polls and you don't like facts. Okay.